Hello, this is IE Radio Afternoon News. First, here are the headlines. Some members of the public have argued the government to strengthen South Sudan's financial system, saying meaningful economic reforms require stronger institutions, sound policies, and effective laws. South Sudanese political parties, civil society organizations, and other stakeholders have signed a declaration of essential principles pledging to reject violence, hate speech, and political intimidation ahead of the December 2026 general elections. And a new study on post-conflict democratic consolidation by a former minister of investment calls on South Sudan to overhaul its constitution, unify its security sector, and expand civic education to curb hate speech and electoral violence. These stories and more coming to you in our 1 o'clock bulletin. Now the news in detail with me, Hellen Samuel. Some members of the public have argued the government to strengthen South Sudan's financial system, saying meaningful economic reforms require stronger institutions, sound policies, and effective laws. The reactions followed President Salva Kiir's call for urgent economic reforms during the swearing-in of the new governor of the Bank of South Sudan, Dr. Addis Ababa Otho, on Friday. President Kiir directed financial authorities to restore public confidence, address the liquidity crisis, and stabilize the national economy. Speaking during iRadio's Dawn show, members of the public said leadership changes alone would not resolve the country's economic challenges unless they are supported by proper financial systems and legal reforms. David McCock said the government needs to establish effective systems to guide economic management. He also raised concerns over the continued street trading of foreign currency, saying such practices show weaknesses in the financial system. Felix said stronger laws are needed to protect public funds and prevent financial mismanagement. Another member of the public, Sultan Joseph, called for clear systems to accompany leadership changes at the central bank. He also called for action against informal foreign exchange markets, saying a regulated system would help restore public confidence. This is what they had to say.
يعني النظام ده يطلب بلده دليل لازم سياسة أول بعد الوضع بتاعتي واجهات كتير يجي وراه لكن لو سياسة ما منظم الأشياء بتاع دولة ده بناوي بس قدامه في كاسر بمال أنت بس قروي بيجوا بقروي تاني وما في دولة أي على الله ده ما في دولة تاني بحاجات زي ما من يعني دولار لو يتجاري بلغا لكن عشان ده في جنوب السودان تلقاه في السوق يعني الشغل بدون من وين بمال دليل لازم السياسة بعد الوضع بتاعتي ده بيجي وراه واجهات تاني بيجي وراه لكن أجار لو ما كل شيء منو هو هذا السودان ما له قانون مال العام واي دوله ما له قانون مال العام يعبروا شفوت ساكت اول حاجه القانون ده يعبر حرم الناس القرار وزمان القانون حتى درجات مليون محاط ما هي المشكله بتاع جنوب السودان الا تكون في قانون انت جايبته يعني السبب انت جايب جوني ده فتي داول بيري بالواحد عشان كده الباب اوت ده كانت فتي داول ده اثنين وثلاثه انت جبت فتي يا سبب انت ده تجيبه وبعدين السيستم ويعمل النظام الكويس لكن اذا تسمى ما ماشي والله تصادف ما عديل كده مو يجيب زول جديد الناس بيبيعوا دولار في كل مدبر في السوق ده كان يشيل بقى انو ما يعرفوا ما في بلد في الدول الدولار بيبيع زي كل مدبر الى جنوب السودان ده يا فوق ذاته وده سيستم بكره سيستم هذا ده ما يكلم ساكت.
The members of the public agreed that strengthening financial institutions, enforcing economic laws, and regulating foreign exchange trading are essential steps towards rebuilding confidence in South Sudan's banking sector and improving the economy. South Sudanese political parties, civil society organizations, and and other stakeholders have signed a declaration of essential principles pledging to reject violence, hate speech, and political intimidation ahead of the December 2026 general elections. The National Alliance of Political Parties, other political parties, and civil society organizations signed the declaration as part of efforts to create a peaceful and conducive atmosphere for the elections at the end of the transitional period. The declaration commits the signatories to respect the rule of law, promote constructive political dialogue, reject violence and hate speech, and support an environment where citizens can participate freely and confidently in the electoral process. Speaking at the signing ceremony on Friday, the participants agreed on the importance of peaceful coexistence, national unity, and responsible political engagement as key pillars for credible elections. The chairperson of the National Alliance of Political Parties, Cornelio Congo, urged political leaders to embrace democracy and reject violence and promote peaceful political competition. He described the upcoming elections as historic opportunity to consolidate peace, achieve national unity, and complete South Sudan's democratic transition.
كنشاط حكومي تعمل في فتح الطرق أو فتح الشوارع في الأحياء، والتخطيط ماشي على قدم وساق. يعني الأسبوع اللي فات تم تسليم عدد 300 قطاعات سكنية في مربع 21 في شركة مدينة داديين. تم تسليم يعني بقرعة وبوجود وزير الحكم المحلي وتطبيق القانون ووزير البنية التحتية. يعني التلقية ده دفعة أولى، يعني عملوا بالقرعة قدام المواطنين الناس اللي قدموا.
Meanwhile, Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Disaster Management, Albino Akol Attack, stressed the importance of civic education ahead of the elections. Minister Albino Akol Attack said citizens need to understand the electoral process and their responsibilities, while political parties and government institutions must also understand their respective roles. He said a clear understanding of these responsibilities would contribute to creating a complete and peaceful electoral environment. Mr. Akol called on political parties and citizens to support free, fair, and credible elections and work towards a peaceful transfer of power.
To inform all the citizens of the Republic of South Sudan there is an event that is going to take place, which is the elections. So it is part of civic education. Our people have to know that there is this exercise that is going to take place, so that every one of them must know what is the role. Political parties must know what is their role. The government institutions that are tasked with these exercises must know their roles, and the people of South Sudan also must know their role. This is where we will have a complete election environment.
You are listening to news coming to you from iRadio. A new study on post-conflict democratic consolidation by a former Minister of Investment calls on South Sudan to overhaul its constitution, unify its security sector, and expand civic education to curb hate speech and electoral violence. The research, titled Causes of Electoral Violence in Post-Conflict Countries, Institutions, Political Competition, and the Challenges of Democratic Consolidation, was authored by Dr. Diu Mathok Dingwall of the African Center of Conflict Resolution and Peacebuilding in Juba. Published in the African Journal of Emerging Issues, Volume 8, Issue 21, July 2026, the paper examines post-war political transitions across 9 nations, including Kenya, Cote d'Ivoire, Liberia, Sierra Leone, Burundi, Nepal, Bosnia and Herzegovina, South Sudan, and the Democratic Republic of Congo. According to Dr. Diu Mathok, a former Minister of Investment, elections rarely generate conflict on their own. Instead, they act as a catalyst that exacerbates pre-existing political, ethnic, and economic tensions. The study identifies several structural vulnerabilities that heighten the risk of electoral conflict, notably weak public institutions, winner-takes-it-all political systems, unresolved wartime grievances, armed factions embedded in political parties, youth unemployment, hate speech, and partisan security forces. To illustrate these dynamics, the study points to Kenya's disputed 2007 presidential election, where eroding trust in electoral bodies and the judiciary triggered widespread violence that left over 1,000 dead. Similarly, Cote d'Ivoire in 2010 election resulted in rivalry victory claims that plunged the nation back into civil war. Conversely, the research highlights Liberia 2005 and Sierra Leone 2007 as proof that post-conflict elections need not to end in bloodshed in both nations. Deliberate institutional reforms, comprehensive disarmament programs, security sector overhauls, and sustained international backing enabled peaceful democratic transfers of power. Dr. Diumathok emphasizes that proper sequencing is vital. Electoral commissions, courts, and security forces must earn public confidence long before high-stakes elections take place. The study frames South Sudan as an urgent test case, citing unfinished provisions of the 2018 peace agreement, specifically army unification, a permanent constitution, truth and reconciliation mechanisms, and judicial strengthening. To mitigate risks, the author urges South Sudan to fast-track constitutional reforms, complete security sector integration, bolster the National Elections Commission, and expand civic education to counter online misinformation and hate speech. Dr. Diumathok concludes that peaceful elections depend on years of deliberate institutional building, justice, and reconciliation, calling on domestic leadership and international partners to prioritize these reforms well ahead of the polling day. The South Sudan National Land Coalition says political interference in policymaking has allowed some individuals to bypass legal procedures and acquire land improperly. Stakeholders are now calling for the swift passage of the Land Bill and greater public awareness to strengthen land governance, protect community rights, and promote peaceful coexistence. The coalition made the remarks during a one-day forum held under the theme Strengthening the Implementation of Presidential Directives on Pastoralist Migration, Peaceful Coexistence, and Sustainable Land Governance in South Sudan. The forum brought together land stakeholders who raised concerns over challenges affecting land administration, including political influence, weak enforcement of regulations, and disputes between communities over land ownership and use. Boboya James, Executive Director of the Institute of Social Policy and Research, ISPR, said political interests have affected land policy making, allowing some individuals to avoid established procedures for acquiring land.
Politics have entered into policymaking, and because of the nature of tribalism in South Sudan, some politicians are protecting others from not following the due process, because there's something called prior consent, where you have to consent, you have to do prior consultations, and you have to accept processes, right, that related to land acquisition. But of course, those processes are jumped over, and that's the reason why many people grab land and then they begin to formalize land.
Stakeholders say implementing President Salva Kiir's directives on pastoral migration and land governance remains challenging due to weak institutional capacity, climate shocks, and ongoing localized conflicts. And lastly, before the international news, the German's development agency GIZ South Sudan, through its Respect program, has distributed dignity kits to partner institutions to support girls and women across the country. According to GIZ South Sudan, more than 1,800 dignity kits were handed over to the Israel Aid as part of an ongoing distribution campaign targeting partner institutions and organizations. The kits are designed to support menstrual health management, promote privacy and self-care, and ensure menstruation does not prevent girls and women from attending school or participating fully in community life. Last month, GIZ distributed additional kits to the State Ministry of Gender, Child and Social Welfare and the Women Foundation for Humanity, WFH. A total of 1,700 kits were allocated to implementing partners, with 1,100 provided to the State Ministry for distribution through the One-Stop Center in Juba and the community networks. Other kits were allocated to Respect partners, including Women Foundation for Humanity and Start Trust organization, to reach communities in Gondokoro, Luri, Mangala, and Rijaf. The handover follows awareness activities aimed at promoting menstrual hygiene, reducing stigma, and encouraging communities to support the inclusion of women and girls. Speaking during the handover, Central Equatorial State Minister of Gender, Child and Social Welfare, Elizabeth Peter Lugor, and Executive Director Nono Diana Allison said partners are essential to ensuring girls and women have access to items that support their dignity and participation in society. Catherine Bilger, implementing manager of the Respect, said providing essential items helps build resilience, confidence, and opportunities for women and girls. GIZ says the distribution will continue, with the project expected to provide a total of 5,000 dignity kits through government institutions, civil society organizations, and community partners. You are listening to IE Radio News, and now my colleague Angelina Gama is right here with the stories making headlines in the international arena.
Uganda has unveiled the statue of Jonathan Netanyahu, the older brother of Israel's Prime Minister, who was killed during the Entebbe hostage rescue mission 50 years ago. Uganda's Army Chief General Muhoozi Kainerugaba said the monument honored his courage and selfless service. Netanyahu was the only Israeli soldier killed in the raid, which rescued more than 100 hostages after 2 Palestinians and 2 Germans hijacked an Air France flight that had taken off from Tel Aviv and diverted it to Uganda's international airport. Elsewhere, 2 crew members have been killed after 2 helicopters collided mid-air in Greece while battling wildfires. The fatalities were a Danish pilot and a Greece Fire Service liaison officer. A British pilot and another Greek coordinator on the second helicopter survived. According to the Greek Fire Service, the 2 Bell helicopters leased from Australian company McDermott Aviation collided on Sunday while taking part in efforts to tackle a large wildfire burning on the Attica-Boeotia border. Finally, U.S. President Donald Trump has said new talks with Iran will begin on Monday after calling off what he said would have been massive strikes on the country. In an earlier post on Truth Social, Trump said he had been asked by Iran and U.S. allies in the Middle East to hold off on any attacks as the parameters of a deal had been agreed. Iran's foreign ministry said there are no plans to receive a U.S. delegation or send Iranians to Washington. Earlier talks have been facilitated through mediators. I am Angelina Gama. Thank you for listening.
Thanks, Angelina. There with some of the stories making headlines across the globe. Jonah Court is right here with updates from the sports desk. Jonah Court, what do you have in the sports news?
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Helen Samuel. With the sport, we begin with the WAFCON, where the final chapter for the group stage gets underway tonight as the race for a place in the knockout rounds reaches to its climax. Kenya will be facing Algeria in must-win encounter, with both teams looking to finish the group stage on a positive note. The outcome will also show a very important moment in the positive note. The outcome of the match could have a major impact on the final stage and qualification hopes. In the other decisive group fixtures, Senegal will take on host Morocco tomorrow on what promised to be a thrilling contest with a place in the knockout stage at the stake. Both sides will be aiming to secure maximum point and end the group phase in a strong finish. The Confederation of African Football, CAF, has announced that the preliminary round draws for the 2026-2027 the CAF Championship League and the CAF Confederation Cup will take place on Thursday, 6 August 2026 in Cairo, Egypt. Internationally, Manchester City forward Antonio Semedo has hailed the new manager Enzo Maresca's style of play has music to my ears after showcasing early signs of his role under the Italian. City are defeated on penalties by Inter Milan in Maresca's first game in the church in Hong Kong, but the side demonstrated the attacking intent the new boss will display after replacing Pep Guardiola. With the transfer news, Tottenham Hotspur has made an initial approach with worth of 55 million for Galatasaray striker Victor Osimhen, 27, but the Turkish champions are looking forward a closer 65 million for the Nigerian, and Chelsea have submitted an improved offer for left-back Pep Claras, 28, after Royal Volcano responded to Blues' opening bids of 20.8 million by asking for 21.4 million for the Spanish. Finally, the ultra runner Sophia Woods ran 2,000 kilometers across 8 countries in only 29 days to break the record for completing the Via Flema, one of the world's toughest endurance challenges. The course follows the entire length of the Alps with the elevation equivalent to climbing Mount Everest 12 times. That's all from the sport desk. Back to you, Helen Samuel.
Thanks so much, Jonathan. You are listening to iRadio News, and to end this bulletin, here is a recap of the headlines. Some members of the public have argued the government to strengthen South Sudan's financial system, saying meaningful economic reforms require stronger institutions, sound policies, and effective laws. Some South Sudanese political parties, civil society organizations, and other stakeholders have signed a declaration of essential principles pledging to reject violence, hate speech, and political intimidation ahead of the December 2026 general elections. And a new study on post-conflict democratic consolidation by a former minister of investment calls on South Sudan to overhaul its constitution, unify its security sector, and expand civic education to curb hate speech and electoral violence. And that's the end of iRadio Afternoon News. If there is a story or an event you like iRadio to cover or report about, please send us a text message on +211 925 287 870. It's also our WhatsApp number. Follow us on X at iRadio Juba, like our Facebook page iRadio, subscribe to our YouTube channel at iRadio South Sudan. You can also visit our website and listen to us online at www.iradio.org. Stay tuned for the news in Arabic at 1:30. I'm Helen Samuel. Thank you for listening.
Sounds of the Week on iRadio.
يعني النظام دي إبراهيم ده رسالة بلده دليل لازم سياسة أول بعد الوضع بتاع انتقادي واجهات كتير يجي وراه لكن لو سياسة ما منظم الأشياء بتاع دولة دي بناوصل قدامه ثم ما في حاجة بيقولوا قال الدول بتاع بتاع ما بتاع قالوا هو بغير وضع ومعامل شروع بقدر يعملوا إذا ما في تكاسل بمال إذا بقى بروج بيجوا بروج ثاني وما في دولة أي على الله دي ما في دولة ثانية بقى أقدر ما من يعني دولار لو إذا تعرف بلقاه لكن هذا ده في جنوب السودان تلقاه في السوق يعني الشغل بدون من وين بمال دليل لازم السياسة بعد الوضع بتاع ده بيجي وراه وأجاد ثاني بيجي وراه لكن أجاد لو ما في كل شيء يجي منه.
Sounds of the Week on iRadio, your eye on South Sudan.
Real people, real stories, real music, real radio. This is iRadio, your eye on South Sudan.
Your voice matters more than you know. Every time you call iRadio, every time you share your perspective, every time you give your opinion on air, you are practicing freedom of speech. You are protecting media freedom. You are keeping independent radio alive. You are actively participating in the governance process. Many may not realize it, but those calls, comments, and conversations are not just talk. They are acts of public participation, the heartbeat of a free and open society. By speaking up, you help hold leaders accountable, raise community issues, and shape national conversations. Without your voice, the microphone goes silent. Keep calling, keep talking, because when the people speak, democracy breathes.
Coming all apart, babe, with every tearing word. I've lost my taste for what I take from you. When a painful night of silence is the sweetest sound I've heard. If I play your game, I'm cheating on the truth. It takes too many tears to make love strong. Too much of me for me and you to get along. I'd need another lifetime, but I'll never last that long. It takes too many tears to make love strong. Takes a lot of living, a lot of going through, to finally see an end to going down. There's no getting up my courage for making up with you, 'cause making up just buys another round. It takes too many tears to make love strong. Too much of me for me and you to get along. I'd need another lifetime, but I'll never last that long. It takes too many tears to make love strong. It takes too many tears to make love strong. Too much of me for me and you to get along. I'd need another lifetime, but I'll never last that long. It takes too many tears to make love strong.
صوتك مهم أكتر ما تتصور. في كل مرة بتتصل فيه بإذاعة آي راديو، في كل مرة بتشارك فيه وجهة نظرك، وفي كل مرة بتدلي فيه رأيك على الحوار. أنت بتمارس حرية التعبير، أنت بتحمي حرية الإعلام، أنت بتحافظ على حيوية الإذاعة المستقلة، وأنت بتشارك بفعالية في عملية الحوكمة. كثير من الناس ما بيعرفوا، لكن الاتصالات والتعليقات والمحادثات ديل ما مجرد كلام، بل هي أفعال مشاركة عامة، نبض مجتمع حر ومنفتح. بالتحدث أنت بتساهم في محاسبة القادة وإثارة قضايا المجتمع وتشكيل الحوارات الوطنية. بدون صوتك بيصمت الميكروفون. استمر في الاتصال، استمر في الكلام.